Right, good afternoon, Year 4. Now, you'll remember that last week then we started to think about pilgrimages and special journeys, and you did some super work thinking about trips that you've been on and places that you'd like to go, and you went through that whole long list of questions. Well, we're going to take that a stage further today, and we're going to think about how pilgrimages might affect other people, because maybe last week we were thinking about special places and going to places as a bit more of a holiday. But today we're going to think a bit more about the fact that people go and visit certain places because they are holy or special to their religion. And that kind of special journey is called a pilgrimage. Now, the first thing I'd like you to do is in your book, once you've written the title and once you've done today's date, I would like you to record some differences that you can think of between a pilgrimage and a holiday. But not only differences, are there maybe some similarities? Now, I've done a simple grid for you that you could copy in your book, or if you want to, you could print out, or you could just write a list in your book, okay? It needs to be nice and neat and tidy though, just like we might use them in school. I'm just going to change the slide so that you can see the grid if you want to use it. Okay, so let's see if we can go this way then. So you could think of pilgrimages down one side, holidays down the other. What similarities are there between the two of them? What differences are there between the two of them? All right, so I want you to pause the tape now, and I want you to spend maybe 5 to 10 minutes, it doesn't matter quite how long it takes you, you do it at your speed, thinking about how long you might need to get some really, really good answers. So think about the similarities that there might be between those special trips, and you might want to think about things that you wrote down last lesson about what you needed to do to organise to go to certain places, and you might suddenly think of some differences as well. Okay, so pause the tape, spend a few minutes doing that now. Okay, so what we're going to do now then is, in your head, keep those similarities and differences there, but we're going to think about a pilgrimage that somebody who today is of the Christian faith may take. Now, you'll need to open up a separate PowerPoint for that, and I've attached that on the Class Dojo story as well. And the first slide is just a photograph, all right? So I'm going to open up mine now. All right, there's the first slide, all right, and I want you to have an honest guess about what you think that person is doing in that picture and where you think they are. So again, pause the tape, have a really, really good look at that picture and see if you can make some guesses. And remember, these are all guesses, they're just predictions. It doesn't matter if they are right or if they're wrong. Okay, so you keep your PowerPoint slide open for a moment. I'm just going to flip back to the other slide. So again, pause the tape while you have a little look. Okay, so I asked you then to make 3 honest guesses about where in the world you thought that holy place might be. What I'd like you to do now then is, again, I want you to pause the tape for a minute, and in your book I'd like you to write me down at least 1, maybe 2 reasons about why you think people might want to go to that place. What is it that's drawing them there? All right, we know it's a holy place, we gave you a big clue, so why would somebody of the Christian faith want to go to that special holy place? And were there any clues in the photograph to help you? So I'd like you to write down at least 1 reason. You might be able to come up with 2. And if you can record those in your book, all right, that would be brilliant. And look, I've said on the slide there, don't look at the answer on the next page yet until you have written your ideas down as well. Okay, so pause the tape again. Brilliant. Okay, so if I move on to the next slide then, I wonder how many of you guessed that actually that special place was Jerusalem. All right, and next to this photograph of Jerusalem, look, I've actually written, well, I haven't written it, but found for you in Hebrew language, which is used a lot in Jerusalem, how they would write that word, okay? Now, if you don't know anything about Jerusalem already, it's the capital city of a country called Israel, just like London is the capital city of our country, or Paris is the capital city of France. So it's a really important place anyway for their country, but actually it's even more special because it's believed to be such a holy place. And it tells us there, look, that people travel to Israel as it's Jesus' place of birth, but it's also the place where he was crucified on the cross. And as Christians, people remember that part of the Bible story at Easter, which for us is usually sometime in March or April. Okay, so Israel then is a holy place for those people who follow the Christian faith, and many people who follow that faith try to go on a pilgrimage there at least once in their lifetime. Okay, and you might want to see if you can find some other pictures of Israel on the internet. You might be able to have some books at home that you could have a look up to as well. Okay, now what I want you to do now then is I want you to look through the rest of the slides on the PowerPoint. For every slide that there is, I'd like you in your books to record some key fact or information about that slide, because over the next few weeks of our RE lessons, we're going to be gathering all sorts of information that we'll be using to create as a travel guide, all right? So you're going to open up that slide again, and it might be that this time you're going to look at the second slide, which is all about the Sea of Galilee. So in your book, you might have that as a subheading, and I'd like you to read through if you can. So for example, this says, this is the lake that Jesus walked on the water to prove to everyone that he was the Son of God. Jesus sat here and shared stories with his disciples. He told his disciples to throw their fishing nets onto the other side of the boat after a long night of fishing where they caught nothing. All right, so that might be something that you record in your book, some facts about the Sea of Galilee. And I'd like you to go through all of those slides and just write down 1 or 2 sentences that you can remember about those particular places that are in Israel. Once you've done that though, I've also posted you a link, all right? That will be on the class story page. It's a short film. You can watch it once all the way through, and then I'd like you to watch it again where you can start and stop it. All right, now it's from a young couple who've just returned from their first trip to Israel, and they considered it to be a pilgrimage because they're Christians. All right, listen carefully to the words that they use to describe their experience there. They were really excited. Can you write down maybe some of the words in a list that they say? How do you think they felt? And after you've done that and you've listened to it and you've collected some of that information, I'd like you to write me a short paragraph, so a few sentences, explaining to someone who hasn't watched that film how you think the couple felt about their special visit to Israel and why they felt like that. So you might need to watch that more than once, okay? Now, when you've done that, I've also put for you a worksheet, okay? This worksheet then is all about understanding why people go on pilgrimages. There are no trick questions. If you listen to that video clip again, you will hear all of the answers that you need to answer this question. So it's things like, where did the couple travel to? Why did they want to go? Who helped them organise it? All right? Because that might link back to the things that you had to think about last week when you were talking about organising a special trip of your own. Okay, now remember, you can pause my film as many times as you want to, you can pause that clip as many times as you want to, and the PowerPoint you can go through at your own speed. You can look at it more than once, okay? So try and answer all of those questions, and then I will tell you how I want you to get your responses back to me today. So some of them will be in your book and you're gathering information, some of them might be on the worksheet here now. Okay, I hope that all makes sense. And the same as every day, if there's something that you don't understand, you can message me or Miss Fallon on Dojo and we'll try and get back to you as quickly as we can. All right, so stop the film there. I'm going to stop my recording now as well, and we're really looking forward to seeing your answers. Okay?